Has the market changed its mind about what the Fed may do next?
We have got to get inflation behind us. I wish there were a painless way to do that. There isn't.
I think this is a two-part policy mistake of historic proportion.
I think the odds of a recession in 2023 are very high.
I think you should offer the American people an apology.
Hello, I'm Christopher Crystal, and this is Finance Stockholm. We're discussing what's going on in the Swedish market. It's Thursday, September 29th, 2022, and we still don't have a government. We will have members for the parliament being discussed today. And we see also that there's a lot of debate and discussion on who gets to sit and who will get the mandates and who will then be in part of the coalition. So you still see the second largest party being ignored mostly, and more power being given to one of the smaller parties, the Liberalerna, and the Moderaterna are still in control. You do see a lot of jousting there. Center Party is trying to stay or maintain their relevance after making some dramatic shifts in the last 6 years, and they will now have to negotiate what they're going to do and who they can be a help to. And as they had switched in the past, there's not a lot of confidence, I think, from some of the parties on what the relevance of them would be. So we also have the amortization notes coming up today. So we saw what Stefan Ingves did with the rates. And we saw that the cycle will continue, or at least he's saying it will. And so there will be discussion on what the mortgage level will be and what the mortgage rates can be. Not that they're controlling the Riksbank, but that the idea of what the Riksbank is doing is controlling them. And the housing market has been a significant part of the Swedish economy. So this will have a dramatic effect on how the Swedish economy continues to function and if we continue to be a strong economy. So that is in front of people today in the parliament. And then also clouding our politics is what's going on in the North Sea. This is being labeled as sabotage. You see the EU calling it sabotage. The Sweden's called it sabotage. Danish government has called it sabotage. You even have a Polish foreign minister, Sikorski, former Polish minister, calling it sabotage. And he tweeted out, "Thank you, USA." And TASS, the German or the Russian news group, has come out and highlighted that there needs to be a meeting at the UN Security Council to discuss what's happened. We have 4 leaks now instead of 3, and we'll see what the discussions are. Obviously, I would expect a ramp up of the Putin rhetoric, and we see that the Swedish government has taken a very concerned look. It's pretty clear when you're at 80 meters that you need either divers who are very experienced at deep water to handle that atmospheric pressure when you're that deep, or you needed submarines. So there's a lot of fingers pointing. Russia's pointing towards the U.S., and in the U.S., you're seeing some people point towards the U.S. itself. And then, of course, there are many in the U.S. that are also pointing towards Russia, and you see many in Europe pointing towards Russia. You have comments out from the IEA saying it's obvious without saying who that obvious party is. So, and that's translated from the French. But, the question of who did it and why, still not clear. I mean, it's what's clear is that it's a sunk cost, no pun intended, on the pipelines in the Baltic Sea. But it is clear that it was sabotage, and we're not sure who did it. And so this is disrupting the gas flow into Germany. There was still some gas flow going through the Nordstream to Germany, and there's very little gas flow coming from Ukraine into Europe, and that will be the primary supply, I guess, at this point that they're going to be able to achieve. And so we do see gas prices spiking. That's very negative for the German economy, for the Swedish economy, for the Dutch economy, for all economies. We are in a scenario where we've gone to the Middle East to ask for increased gas, and that's primarily to countries like Germany, where Scholz was this past weekend. And we do see a lot of these greener efforts, which will take years to come to fruition. So Vattenfall is going to produce another wind farm for Germany, which will produce power for roughly 1 million homes. They're going to put it in the North Sea. or in the Baltic. I'm not sure on the location, but they're going to power 1 million homes. So while that may be comforting, it doesn't take effect till 2027. And the Dutch plans of their hydrogen pipelines are still yet to be realized. And the one good thing you have is the Baltic pipe coming from Norway over to Germany is up and running. So you are getting some gas supply from Norway, and Norway provides something like 25% of the EU gas. So that's a positive. We'll see if they develop more. We'll see what happens in the US. Some in the US Congress, Democrats as well, are pushing for using more LNG and sending that over here to Europe. And that adds to further speculation on the goals and achievements for the liquid natural gas and who should be getting it. So without getting too much into that, it creates more speculation. But the gas prices are definitely up, and we'll see how this is going to impact the economies overall. And then moving to our markets in Sweden, we have Hennes and Mauritz came out with their figures, and they of course were not able to achieve, but that was, I think, a lot expected, even though the stock is down this morning in the early trading, and that's because of their Russian holdings. They also cite cost increases as part of the problem, and they're going to try to save 2 billion Swedish crowns. And that will be enacted very soon. We'll see how Yara is going to do on that, or not Yara, but the competitor, the Spanish competitor to the Inditex, to Hennes and Mauritz. So then we will also see some of the movement on the gaming stocks. We had a number of gaming stocks, like Wicket Gaming is going to do an offering. They made a release in English for Wicket Gaming, which is I think primarily cricket, which is why it's called Wickets. And then you have Embracer here in Sweden, and you also have the company behind the gambling, Kambi, getting recommendations from foreign bankers and some locals. And then you also have, of course, the Carnegie was going long on the healthcare, and BioArctic, which has an Alzheimer drug in good process through trials and good results, is getting increased views from local players. So we'll see how that develops. And then the safe haven of the currency, the dollar, was slightly offset yesterday. Many are speculating that has to do with the Bank of England, and I think for any trading strategies you'd want on the Swedish market, and of course for the currency plays or whatever you're looking at to place your assets, you should turn to somebody like an Anders Hagland, who does offer some online coaching, and he has courses, and we've included the links on where you can contact him, and that was after our discussion we had the other day with Anders. So with that being said, that's really it for today, and we'll come back to you tomorrow, hopefully with some better news, and wish you the best. Thank you very much. Bye.